Thank you, Chapter, for sponsoring this video. More on Chapter later. So is $500,000 enough to retire on? And if it is, what does a retirement like that look like for you and I? I was a financial advisor for over 20 years. I'm now retired. But this is one of the questions I like to help people think through on my channel. So I'm going to use a free online tool from honestmath.com. You can follow along with it. And the reason I like it is it's super high level and you can change things based on your situation. So we're going to start off first with individual, somebody that's single, they're 65 years old, and they've saved $500,000. Now stick with me to the end of the video because I'm going to tweak it and I'm going to show you what it looks like for a married couple as well. Okay, so this person again, 65 years old, they're saying, okay, I want to retire now at 65, and their Social Security check is going to be $2,000 a month. Why $2,000? Because according to the Social Security Administration, that's about what the average person receives on Social Security. Now, know if you retire at 65, for this individual, they're not at their full retirement age yet. So if they were to wait to 67 or wait till 70, they would get more. But you can change this in Honest Math if you want to follow along. Okay. And so Honest Math has 4 sections. This is the first section was on the individuals. This is for the portfolio. So this is the second section. And I've just got a $500,000 balance here, and I put everything else at the default. And importantly, what the asset allocation is, you can see here, that is at 60%. I'm not saying none of this is financial advice. I'm not saying a 60% stocks, 40% portfolio is right. It's what the tool defaults to, and I'm just leaving it there. Okay, average annual retirement living expenses, let's start off at $5,000. Why? Because the Bureau of Labor Statistics says the average retired household spends about $58,000 a year. This was a couple years ago, so I think $5,000 a month is a good estimate to have. Again, I left everything else as far as taxes, effective tax rate, I left all of that at the default. Then under settings, just left everything there at default as well, which importantly has the expected returns for stocks and bonds and the standard deviation. Again, I left everything at the default. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have the tool calculate what our likelihood of success is. It does this using a statistical tool called the Monte Carlo simulation. That's just a fancy way to say they're trying to emulate what 10,000 lives might look like with different returns. Really, the stock market returns are the big ones. And with this, so they ran 10,000 lives, and what you see with that light blue range, the top of that is those are the people that got lucky. The bottom of that range, those are the people that didn't do as well. And the median, that is the dark line. Half the people did better, half the people did worse. And you can see, unfortunately, all of these people did not do great, right? The most successful person makes it to 80 until they run out of money. The median person runs out of money at 77, and the unlucky people don't even make it to 75. So few, if any of us, would say, hey, that's enough. I feel comfortable with that. So what do? Do we just say we're not going to retire? No, we tweak things. So let's go back to the expenses, and instead of $5,000 a month, let's look at $4,000 a month. And if we do that, that's the only thing I changed. If we do that, things look better, right? The top of the blue line has people making it just the top of that blue shaded area. Those are the people that got lucky with the sequence of returns when they got different stock market results on their portfolio. So the people that were the most fortunate did make it to 90 before they ran out of money, but barely. The median person made it to 83, and then the unlucky people made it to 79. So again, there's not a lot of people that would say, hey, I feel really comfortable with this. So let's go back and tweak things. Let's go to $3,500 instead of $4,000 a month. That's the only thing I'm changing. And here things look better, but still not perfect. The good news is the fortunate people ended up making it to 90 years old and having more money than they retired with. They ended up with $600,000 at 90. The median person, half the people did better, half the people did worse. The median case, made it to almost 90 before they ran out of money. And the unfortunate people made it to 83. Now, there are people that would say, you know what, I'm okay with this. We'll see how life goes. We'll tweak things. But a lot of people are going to say, no, I need at least that median line to, have $100,000 left, so I have a margin of error. So let's go back. Instead of $3,500 a month, let's do $3,200 a month. And if we do $3,200 a month, now look at the chart. Okay, the median person has a little over 200,000. The fortunate person has almost $1,000,000, and the unlucky people make it to 86, 87 years old. So this is a chart that's probably 80% likelihood of success, maybe 75%. Um, and it just shows the importance. Notice the difference between $3,500 a month and $3,200. So we need to be very careful when we have this amount of money on how we spend our money. And that's why I'm really proud and happy to partner with Chapter on this video, because Chapter helps people make good decisions regarding Medicare. And so their Medicare advisors, their services are free to the consumer. And a lot of people are like, well, hey, Azul, I'm a little worried about that because obviously there's no free lunch. Chapters are getting paid, and they are. Like any Medicare advisor, they get paid from the commissions of the tools of the Medicare choices that people make. But you want to work with a firm that has your interests first and foremost. And if if the low cost option is the right option for you, even if it pays the lowest commission, you want to work with somebody like that. And that's why I decided to work with Chapters. My sense and the feedback from my viewers is that is how they're doing things. Very much like when I was a financial advisor, what's best for the client, and tell them that. And the revenue stream is what the revenue stream is. And I want to share with you one of the comments from one of my viewers that called up Chapter. And here's what this person said. They left it in the comments for the video. They said, Chapter, pleasantly surprised. I called thinking they would just try to push hard on some Advantage plan. This guy did not. He actually said that original Medicare and a supplement were the best choices. Not sure how he, Chapter, makes any money off of that advice, but their street cred does go up with me because I didn't get the expected car sales guy type pitch. And that's why I chose to partner with Chapter. I do think it's really important that we make good decisions regarding our Medicare. Unfortunately, Fidelity tells us that the average American is looking at $165,000 in expenses above and beyond what Medicare is going to cover. So making good decisions is important. You can reach Chapter at this phone number here, or you can just click on this QR code here. But thank you, Chapter. I'm super proud to partner with them on this video. Okay, let's keep going. So I mentioned that I'm going to talk about what this looks like for a married couple. But before I go there, I want to give you a little bit of background on what Fidelity says how much you need to save. We're talking about $500,000 in this case. So here's what Fidelity says. And for many of us, this is aspirational, but I think these are good targets to set. So these are multiples of how much money that we're making a year. So by the time we're 30, Fidelity said we should have 1 times our salary saved. By the time we're 40, Fidelity says we should have 3 times. By the time we're 50, Fidelity says we should have 6 times our salary saved. So if we're making $50,000 a year, just for easy math, they're saying by the time we're 50, we should have $300,000 saved. By the time we're 60, we should have 8 times. In this case, it would be 400,000. And by the time we're 67, we should have 10 times. So that would be the 500,000. So very similar to this example that we're going through. Okay. Now you may be looking at the numbers and saying, hey, Azul, for a single person, you're saying $3,200 a month. That doesn't sound like a lot. I mentioned that we're going to get to the married couple example, but before we do, I want to share with you a Wall Street Journal op-ed that that gives us comfort that, if we're not at those numbers that Fidelity recommends, if we're not at the amount of savings that we wish we were, which frankly is most of us, we're probably still going to be okay. And so Andrew Biggs wrote this Wall Street Journal article. Andrew's a smart guy. I'm going to tell you about his background, but when he talks, we should definitely listen. We may disagree, but we should hear what he has to say. His op-ed is called "You Don't Need to Be a Millionaire to Retire." The subtitle is "Among Seniors with $50 to $100,000 in savings, 86% reported they were doing okay or living comfortably." Um, and he starts off quoting this study that showed that Americans think we need to have about $1.5 million to retire comfortably. I can share with you, very few people actually save that kind of money for retirement. But the important thing is, Andrew goes on to say, why then do seniors report such high levels of security with such paltry levels of savings? Going back to his subtitle, people with $50 to $100,000. 86% said they were doing okay or living comfortably. Andrew goes on to say one reason is that Social Security benefits are more generous than people think. An average couple retiring in 2022 received annual benefits of $46,000, up from $34,600 in today's dollars, which was back in 2000. So in today's dollars, they're getting $46,000. So I want to run that example of a married couple getting $46,000, retiring with $500,000. And what does that look like? Before I do that, just quickly on Andrew Biggs. He is a senior fellow at a think tank where he studies Social Security reform. And before that, he actually worked at Social Security, and he was one of the people that I believe he actually headed their research division. So Andrew's a smart guy that we should listen to. Okay, so let's take that $46,000 that Andrew says the average married couple gets. Um, and we're going to put that in. So I'm going to go back to honestmath.com. I'm going to put in $5,000, put the original expenses in, because that's what the average retired family is spending, household is spending in retirement. I'm going back at 500,000 at 65. And I'm putting in that 46,000 a year, which would be $3,833 a month. When we hit calculate, we can see here that the half of the people make it to 84 years old before they run out of money. That's not perfect. That's not great. The unlucky people run out of money just about 80 years old. And the fortunate people, the top of that light blue graph, make it to 90 years old and still have about $200,000. So you can see how important the details are. I'm going to tweak honestmath.com, but I want to point out before we find out what the answer is and come to a chart that's going to look good for most people. How much can they spend? But before we do, I just want to point out how sensitive all of this is to your spending and how much that you have saved. And while honest math is great for, high level, you know, am I in the ballpark? I don't want anybody retiring with am I in the ballpark? I want you retiring with confidence, because when you have confidence, then you have freedom to actually spend the money without feeling guilty that the model says that you can spend. And you have knowledge, and you have a tool that's by your side that you can tweak as you go along. Too many people use a high level tool like this, or they build their own model, their own financial plan, their own retirement plan using Excel or Google Sheets. I urge you not to do that. There's excellent software available that costs less than you and your friend going out for coffee once a month. The software that I like is called Bolden. You can reach Bolden at this link here. Bolden is not the sponsor of this video, that's Chapter. But I am an affiliate of Bolden, so if you use my link over here, you will be supporting the channel. And Bolden is much more robust, can go into everything I'm showing you here and more, and make sure that you're thinking about the right things, that there's no formula mistakes, things like that. So Bolden's an excellent tool. It's the one that I recommend. Okay, let's keep going. So getting back to this married couple, we're now going to put in the expenses of $5,000 a month. We saw what the results were. As a reminder, the results look like this, where when most of us are probably not happy with that, with the median person running out of money about 84. If you're fairly confident you're not going to live to 84, maybe that's okay. But even then, the median says only half of the people make it to that. So half of the people run out of money sooner. So let's tweak things again. And here what I'm doing is I'm saying instead of retiring at 65, they're retiring at 67. Um, and if I do that, now you can see they work 2 more years. They're at full retirement age, and you can see here the median person makes it to 90 with $200,000. The unlucky people still don't make it to 90, but they do pretty well. They get to 86. And the fortunate people, remember, they retired with $500,000. The fortunate people actually end up making it to 90 with $1 million. So this is probably a likelihood of 85%, somewhere in there. I know a lot of people that would say, yeah, I'm very comfortable with that. I do know people that are not comfortable with that. So what do you do if you're not sure that you're comfortable? What you do is you surround yourself with good advisors. I think the gold standard for a financial plan is to work with a financial planner. Mea culpa, that's what I did for a living. If you're not going to use a financial planner, use Bolden. Here's the link again here. And looking at your major expenses, which are things like taxes and healthcare. For taxes, you reach out to an accountant to help you with that. Taxes are a big expense in retirement. And then for healthcare, you surround yourself again with good advisors that have your best interests in mind. The company that I've sponsored with, that I'm proud to partner with, is Chapter, and you can reach Chapter here. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, the YouTube algorithm says this is the next video of mine specifically for you that you should watch next. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.